Have you ever noticed that the loudest displays of power often hide the deepest fears? We live in a world where strength is too often confused with control, where raising a voice is mistaken for earning respect, and where causing pain is sometimes celebrated as proof of authority. Yet history, experience, and the quiet wisdom carried through generations tell us a different story. The strongest hands are not the ones that strike. They are the ones that lift. The strongest hearts are not the ones that demand obedience. They are the ones that make others feel safe. There is nothing courageous about leaving scars on another soul. There is no honor in making someone smaller so you can feel bigger. A real man understands that every woman carries a life as rich and complex as his own, filled with dreams, disappointments, hopes, and invisible battles. He recognizes that respect is not a reward she must earn, but a dignity she already possesses. He knows that words can bruise just as deeply as fists, that silence can wound as sharply as shouting, and that love cannot survive where fear is allowed to grow. His strength is measured not by how much power he holds over another person, but by how much kindness he can hold within himself when life becomes difficult. The truth is simple, though not always easy to live by. Anyone can react in anger. Anyone can let pride speak louder than compassion. But it takes remarkable discipline to pause before speaking, to choose understanding instead of humiliation, and to protect the heart of someone who has chosen to trust you. That is where genuine character is revealed, not in moments of comfort, but in moments of conflict, not when everything goes your way, but when disappointment knocks at your door and you must decide what kind of person you truly are. Today, we are not simply talking about women or men. We are talking about humanity itself. We are talking about the quiet decisions that shape homes, define families, and influence generations yet to come. Because every act of respect plants a seed of hope, and every act of cruelty leaves a shadow that stretches far beyond a single moment. The question before us is not whether strength matters. It certainly does. The real question is what kind of strength will define the life you choose to live. True strength has never been about the ability to overpower another person. It has always been about the ability to master oneself. A man may possess physical power, social influence, or financial success, but none of these qualities define his character if they are used to create fear instead of security. Real strength is quiet, steady, and disciplined. It appears in moments when anger rises, but kindness is chosen instead. It reveals itself when patience replaces impulsive reactions, and when respect stands firm even during disagreement. A man who understands his own strength does not feel the need to prove it by intimidating anyone, especially a woman. He recognizes that confidence is not loud, and courage is not cruel. The greatest victories are often invisible, taking place within the heart where pride is set aside, emotions are controlled, and compassion becomes the guiding force. Life presents countless situations that test a person's character. Misunderstandings happen, expectations are disappointed, and emotions sometimes become overwhelming. In those difficult moments, it is easy to react with harsh words, threats, or actions that leave lasting emotional wounds. Yet the measure of a real man is found in his response during these moments. He understands that every decision carries consequences beyond the present argument. A careless sentence may echo in someone's memory for years. A moment of uncontrolled anger can destroy trust that took years to build. Instead of allowing emotions to control him, he chooses wisdom over impulse. He listens before judging, seeks understanding before blaming, and values peace over the temporary satisfaction of winning an argument. Gentleness should never be mistaken for weakness. In reality, gentleness requires extraordinary inner strength. Anyone can respond with aggression when frustrated, but it takes maturity to remain calm when emotions are running high. A man who treats a woman with kindness does not become less masculine. He demonstrates a level of confidence that no display of force can ever match. He understands that protecting another person's dignity is a greater achievement than proving himself right. His presence brings comfort rather than fear, because the people around him know they will be treated with fairness and respect, regardless of the circumstances. A woman should never have to wonder whether expressing her thoughts will result in ridicule or hostility. She should never feel that honesty places her emotional or physical safety at risk. A real man creates an environment where she feels heard, valued, and respected. He encourages conversation instead of silence, understanding instead of suspicion, and partnership instead of control. He knows that healthy relationships flourish when both individuals can speak openly without fear of humiliation or harm. This atmosphere of trust is not built through grand gestures, but through consistent acts of patience, honesty, empathy, and self-control, practiced every single day. Strength also means accepting responsibility for one's actions. When mistakes are made, a real man does not hide behind excuses or blame others for his behavior. He acknowledges his faults, apologizes sincerely, and works to become better. This willingness to grow reflects far greater courage than pretending to be perfect. Self-improvement requires humility, and humility is one of the strongest qualities a person can possess. By accepting accountability, he demonstrates that his character is rooted in integrity rather than ego, showing that genuine strength is measured not by dominance over others, but by mastery over oneself, an unwavering respect for the dignity of every human being. Respect is the foundation upon which every meaningful relationship is built. Without it, love becomes fragile, trust begins to fade, and even the strongest emotional bonds eventually weaken. Many people believe that love alone is enough to sustain a relationship, but love without respect often turns into possession, control, or dependence. A real man understands that genuine affection is expressed not only through kind words or thoughtful gestures, but also through the consistent decision to honor a woman's thoughts, feelings, choices, and individuality. He sees her as an equal partner with her own voice, ambitions, and perspectives, deserving of dignity, regardless of whether they always agree. This understanding transforms relationships from a struggle for control into a journey of mutual support and shared growth. Respect begins with the way a man speaks. Words have the power to encourage or to destroy, to heal or to wound. A real man is careful with his language because he knows that harsh criticism, insults, and humiliation can leave emotional scars that last far longer than physical injuries. Even during moments of disagreement, he chooses words that address the issue rather than attack the person. He understands that winning an argument means very little if it comes at the cost of another person's confidence and peace of mind. Speaking with patience and kindness does not weaken his position. It strengthens the relationship by creating an atmosphere where honest communication can thrive without fear or resentment. Respect is also reflected in how a man listens. Too often, people hear only enough to prepare their next response instead of truly understanding the person in front of them. A real man values a woman's opinions even when they challenge his own. He does not interrupt, dismiss, or belittle her experiences simply because they differ from his. Instead, he listens with genuine curiosity, recognizing that every conversation is an opportunity to learn, grow, and deepen mutual understanding. This willingness to listen communicates something powerful. Your thoughts matter. Your feelings matter. You matter. Those simple but meaningful messages create a sense of emotional safety that strengthens trust over time. Mutual respect also means supporting each other's dreams rather than feeling threatened by them. A confident man celebrates a woman's achievements because he understands that her success does not diminish his own. He encourages her to pursue her goals, develop her talents, and become the best version of herself. Rather than controlling her choices or limiting her potential, he becomes someone who inspires confidence and provides encouragement during moments of doubt. Relationships become stronger when both individuals are free to grow, knowing they have someone beside them who genuinely wants to see them succeed. Respect extends beyond private moments into the way a man treats a woman in public and in the company of others. He does not mock her to gain attention, reveal personal matters to embarrass her, or speak about her in ways that diminish her value. His words and actions remain consistent whether they are alone or surrounded by friends, family, or strangers. Integrity means treating someone with the same dignity regardless of who is watching. This consistency builds trust because respect is not performed for appearances. It becomes part of his character. At its deepest level, respect is the recognition that every human being possesses inherent worth that should never be compromised. A real man understands that love grows naturally where respect is protected, because people flourish in environments where they feel valued, understood, and accepted. Through everyday choices filled with kindness, honesty, patience, and consideration, he creates a relationship in which both hearts can feel secure, appreciated, and free to become their fullest selves together. Many people grow up surrounded by harmful ideas that equate power with fear and dominance with respect. They are taught, directly or indirectly, that raising a voice, controlling another person, or causing emotional pain is a sign of strength. Yet nothing could be further from the truth. Pain is never proof of power. The ability to hurt someone does not reveal greatness. It reveals a lack of self-control, emotional maturity, and compassion. A real man understands that genuine power is not measured by how much fear he can create, but by how much peace he can preserve. He knows that making another person feel small will never make him truly strong. Instead, true strength is reflected in the ability to remain calm, respectful, and composed. Even when emotions are running high, hurting a woman, whether through harsh words, manipulation, intimidation, or physical force, is never an expression of courage. It is often the result of unresolved anger, insecurity, frustration, or the inability to manage difficult emotions in a healthy way. A man who relies on fear to gain control may appear powerful on the outside, but inside he is allowing his emotions to rule him. Real confidence does not need to announce itself through aggression. It stands quietly, firmly rooted in self-respect and discipline. A man who knows his worth has no desire to prove it by causing suffering to someone else. He understands that respect, earned through kindness, lasts far longer than obedience forced through fear. One of the greatest tests of character comes during moments of disagreement. Every relationship experiences conflict because no two people think, feel, or communicate in exactly the same way. Differences are natural, but cruelty is a choice. A real man does not allow temporary anger to become permanent damage. He understands that a single moment of uncontrolled emotion can leave wounds that take years to heal. Instead of reacting impulsively, he chooses to pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom. He asks questions instead of making accusations. He seeks understanding instead of victory. By controlling his actions, he protects both the relationship and the dignity of the person he loves. Emotional pain can be just as damaging as physical harm. Constant criticism, insults, humiliation, manipulation, and dismissive behavior slowly erode a person's confidence and sense of self-worth. These invisible wounds often remain long after the words have been spoken. A real man recognizes the weight his words carry. He understands that every conversation has the power either to strengthen someone's spirit or to weaken it. Because of this awareness, he chooses honesty without cruelty, correction without humiliation, and disagreement without disrespect. His goal is never to win by breaking another person's confidence, but to resolve differences while preserving mutual dignity. Real power is the ability to influence others through integrity rather than intimidation. People naturally trust and admire those who treat them with fairness, patience, and compassion. These qualities cannot be forced or demanded. They are earned through consistent actions. A man who leads with empathy creates an environment where people feel safe to speak openly, admit mistakes, and grow together. His presence inspires confidence instead of fear because his strength is guided by wisdom rather than anger. He understands that every act of kindness reflects inner confidence, while every act of cruelty exposes inner weakness. The strongest men are not remembered for the pain they caused, but for the peace they brought into the lives of those who trusted them, proving that true power is always expressed through self-control, compassion, and unwavering respect for the dignity of others. Anyone can appear kind when life is easy. It is simple to smile when everything is going according to plan, to speak gently when there is no disagreement, and to show patience when nothing is being tested. But comfort does not reveal character. The true measure of a man is discovered in the moments that challenge him. When disappointment arrives, when emotions become intense, when misunderstandings create tension, and when life refuses to follow his expectations, his response speaks louder than any promise he has ever made. Character is not built during moments of ease. It is revealed during moments of difficulty. A real man understands that these situations are opportunities to demonstrate integrity rather than excuses to abandon it. Conflict is an unavoidable part of every relationship. Two people with different backgrounds, experiences, and personalities will naturally disagree from time to time. What separates healthy relationships from unhealthy ones is not the absence of conflict, but the way conflict is handled. A real man does not see every disagreement as a battle that must be won. He understands that protecting the relationship is more important than protecting his ego. Instead of reacting with anger, insults, or blame, he approaches conflict with patience and a willingness to listen. He knows that finding a solution together creates far more value than proving who was right. His goal is understanding, not domination. Self-control becomes especially important when emotions are running high. Anger itself is not the enemy. Everyone experiences frustration and disappointment. The real challenge lies in deciding what to do with those emotions. A man of strong character refuses to let temporary feelings dictate permanent actions. He pauses before speaking, recognizing that words spoken in anger can leave wounds that cannot easily be erased. He chooses reflection over reaction and wisdom over impulse. This ability to govern his emotions demonstrates a strength that cannot be measured by physical power or social status. It shows that he is capable of leading himself before attempting to lead anyone else. Accountability is another defining mark of genuine character. No one lives without making mistakes, but a real man does not hide behind excuses or shift responsibility onto others. When he realizes he has acted unfairly or spoken carelessly, he has the humility to admit it. Offering a sincere apology does not diminish his dignity. It strengthens it. He understands that acknowledging failure is not a sign of weakness, but evidence of maturity. More importantly, he backs his words with action, making a genuine effort to learn, improve, and avoid repeating the same mistakes. This commitment to growth builds trust, because it shows that his values are stronger than his pride. Difficult moments also reveal how a man treats those who are emotionally vulnerable. When a woman expresses fear, sadness, or disappointment, he does not mock her emotions or dismiss them as unimportant. Instead, he responds with empathy, recognizing that every person deserves to be heard with compassion. He understands that emotional support is not about having all the answers, but about being present with patience and understanding. His calm presence provides reassurance rather than additional pain, creating an environment where honesty and trust can flourish even during life's hardest seasons. Over time, these choices define a person's legacy far more than achievements, wealth, or public recognition ever could. People may forget impressive accomplishments, but they rarely forget how someone made them feel during life's most difficult moment. A real man's character shines brightest when circumstances are darkest, because he refuses to let hardship become an excuse for cruelty. Instead, every challenge becomes another opportunity to choose patience over anger, humility over pride, wisdom over impulse, and compassion over harm, proving that integrity is not measured by how a person behaves when life is easy, but by who they remain when life becomes difficult. Every great change in society begins with the choices of individuals. We often imagine that transforming the world requires grand speeches, powerful leaders, or historic movements, but lasting change usually starts much closer to home. It begins with the way people treat one another in everyday life. A better world is not built through force or fear. It is built through compassion, respect, honesty, and responsibility. When men choose these values in their relationships with women, they do more than improve a single life. They create a ripple effect that extends through families, neighborhoods, and future generations. Every respectful action becomes an example that others can follow, proving that kindness has the power to spread just as easily as cruelty. The home is often the first place where children learn what love, respect, and strength truly mean. Long before they understand the lessons taught in schools or hear the messages shared by society, they observe the behavior of the adults around them. A son who watches his father treat his mother with patience, dignity, and kindness begins to understand that true masculinity is rooted in respect rather than dominance. A daughter who grows up seeing herself valued learns that she deserves healthy relationships built on trust and equality. These silent lessons become part of their character, influencing the choices they make throughout their lives. In this way, one man's integrity has the potential to shape generations he may never even meet. Communities also become stronger when men lead with compassion instead of aggression. Respect creates trust, and trust allows people to work together, solve problems peacefully, and support one another during difficult times. Violence, manipulation, and intimidation weaken the social fabric because they replace understanding with fear. A real man recognizes that leadership is not about controlling others, but about inspiring confidence through his actions. Whether he is a husband, father, brother, friend, teacher, or colleague, he understands that people are more likely to follow the example of someone who treats others with fairness and humility than someone who relies on authority alone. Choosing compassion does not mean avoiding accountability or pretending that conflict never exists. It means handling disagreements with wisdom instead of hostility. It means recognizing that every person deserves to be heard without being humiliated and corrected without being degraded. A real man understands that his words and actions leave lasting impressions. A moment of encouragement can restore someone's confidence, while a moment of cruelty can leave emotional wounds that remain for years. Because he recognizes the weight of his influence, he chooses to build people up rather than tear them down. His strength is measured by the peace he creates, not by the fear he inspires. Every act of respect contributes to a culture where women feel safe, valued, and empowered to become their best selves. In such an environment, relationships become healthier. Children grow up with stronger emotional foundations, and communities become more united. Progress is not achieved only through laws or public campaigns. It is sustained by countless personal decisions made every single day. When men consistently choose integrity over ego, patience over anger, and empathy over control, they help create a society where dignity is protected and humanity is honored. Their example encourages others to do the same. proving that true leadership is not found in commanding attention, but in quietly living with principles that inspire hope, strengthen families, and leave the world more compassionate than they found it.